It was 11:43 p.m. when I finally pulled off Interstate 80 somewhere outside Elko, Nevada. I had been driving for nearly 9 hours straight. Cutting across empty desert highways where the only company you get is the sound of your own engine and the occasional semi-truck blasting past like a ghost in the night. My eyes burned, my hands were stiff on the steering wheel. I just needed a bed for a few hours. The GPS directed me to a place called the Silver Crest Inn. The name sounded decent enough, but the building itself looked like it had been forgotten by time. 5 stories tall, faded beige paint peeling off the walls. Half the neon sign was dead, so it only read Silver CRET. The parking lot was mostly empty, except for 3 cars parked far apart from each other, as if even vehicles didn't want to get too close. The air felt wrong when I stepped out of my car. Cold, but not naturally cold. The kind of cold that feels like it's coming from somewhere specific. Like you're being watched inside. The lobby lights flickered softly. Old patterned carpet, a fake plant in the corner covered in dust. Behind the front desk sat an older man with pale skin and thin gray hair combed straight back. He didn't look up at first, he just stared at something on the desk. Checking in, he asked without making eye contact. Yeah, just for the night. He slowly slid a large, old-fashioned guest book across the counter instead of a digital tablet. No computer, no card scanner. Just paper and pen, sign here. Room 914, he said as he handed me a physical brass key. Top floor, the elevator working, I asked. He finally looked up at me. His eyes were unusually dark. The stairs are better. Something about the way he said it made it sound less like advice and more like a rule. I didn't argue. The stairwell smelled like mildew and something metallic. My footsteps echoed louder than they should have. By the time I reached the 9th floor, my legs felt heavy, not just from exhaustion, but from something else. Something like pressure. The hallway was long and narrow. The wallpaper was peeling near the ceiling. Several doors had numbers missing. The lights hummed faintly overhead. Room 914 was at the very end of the corridor. The key turned with resistance, like it hadn't been used in a long time. Inside, the room looked surprisingly clean. A king-sized bed, a desk, a lamp. Heavy curtains covering a large window overlooking the dark Nevada desert. I locked the door, double-checked it, and dropped my bag near the desk. I didn't even bother turning on the TV. I collapsed onto the bed, fully clothed. I must have drifted off for maybe 15 minutes before. 3 knocks, slow, even, intentional. Knock, knock, knock. I opened my eyes. The room was pitch black except for the faint orange glow leaking through the curtains. I checked my phone, 12:17 a.m. Yeah, I called out. Silence, then again. Knock, knock, knock. I sat up and walked to the door, my heart already beating harder than it should have been. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty, completely empty. I stood there for a full minute before stepping back. Maybe someone knocked on the wrong door. Maybe it was plumbing. Old buildings make noise. I turned back toward the bed when I heard something else. A scratching sound, not from the door. From the wall beside the bed. It sounded like fingernails dragging slowly across drywall. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I pressed my ear against the wall. At first nothing, then a whisper. So faint I almost convinced myself it was. I stepped back immediately. My throat felt dry. I grabbed the room phone and dialed the front desk. The line rang twice before the old man answered. Yes, I'm in 914. There's someone in the room next to me. I can hear them. They're asking for help. There was a long pause, then he said, calmly, Sir, you're the only guest on the 9th floor. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? That floor has been closed for years. The line went dead. I pulled the phone away slowly. No dial tone. That's when I heard tapping at the window. Soft at first, tap, 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 I froze. Room 914 was 9 floors up. There was no balcony. No fire escape outside that window. The tapping grew slightly louder. Tap, 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 I forced myself to walk toward the curtains. My hands were shaking as I pulled them open. Nothing, just the empty part. But when I turned back around, my heart nearly stopped. The bathroom light was on. I hadn't turned it on. The door was slightly open. I was certain I had left it closed. Every instinct in my body told me not to look. The mirror above the sink was fogged over, as if someone had just taken a hot shower. Water droplets slowly slid down the glass, and written across the fog in large, uneven letters were the words, "You should not be here." My chest tightened. I stepped closer. The shower curtain inside the tub slowly moved, as if something had brushed against it from the inside. "Hello," I whispered. The curtain twitched again. Then the shower turned on full blast. Ice cold water hitting the tile. I backed into the hallway, breathing hard. The hallway lights were flickering now. The air felt thicker, heavier. Saw someone standing there, a woman. She wore a white hotel robe. Her long dark hair covered most of her face. She wasn't moving, just standing. Watching. "Hey," I called out, "are you okay?" Her head tilted slightly to one side. Then she began walking toward me. Slowly, but her feet weren't making contact. They hovered inches above it. My blood ran cold. I ran toward the stairwell and pushed the door open. I rushed down 2 flights of stairs. When I burst through the door again, I was back on the 9th. Same hallway, same flickering lights. Room 914 at the end. I tried again. Down 3 flights this time, opened the door, 9th floor. The woman was closer now. Her hair slowly shifted away from her face, revealing skin that looked burned. Black and cracked, her eyes were completely dark. "You took my room," she whispered. Though her lips didn't move, I just checked in. I shouted. She tilted her head again. "No one checks out." My phone buzzed in my hand. No signal, but a text message appeared from an unknown number. "Room 914 has been closed since 1996. My knees nearly gave out. I remember. I pulled up the photo I had absent-mindedly taken of it earlier. The last signature before mine was mine. Same handwriting, dated October 17th. 1996. The woman was now only a few feet away. Behind her, the hallway walls looked wrong. Distorted, covered in handprints. Scratch marks, as if dozens of people had tried clawing their way out. "You stayed," she whispered. Suddenly, I wasn't standing in the hallway anymore. I was inside the room again, but it looked older. Rotten wallpaper peeling completely off. Bloodstains near the bed. The air smelled like decay. I looked down at my hands. They looked thinner, paler. Like I hadn't seen sunlight in years. The woman reached out and grabbed my wrist. Her touch was freezing. "You don't remember checking in," she said softly, "but you never left." The lights went out the next morning. Sunlight poured into the abandoned parking lot. My car was still there, dust covering the windshield. The hotel doors were chained shut. A faded sign hung on the entrance and closed since 1996. No front deck, just empty windows except for one. On the 9th floor in room 914. A figure stood behind the glass. It looked exactly like me. Its fingers slowly dragged across the inside of the window, writing 2 words in the room available. And this time, someone knocked from inside.